Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily English Lab podcast, the place where we talk about learning English and also about building a better life step by step, day by day. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. If this is your first time listening, thank you for joining. If you've been listening for a while, welcome back. You are doing something great for your English, and I'm proud of you. Keep going and never stop learning. Do you ever get nervous when you have to speak English? Ever feel your mind go completely blank right when you need it most? Maybe you're in a conversation or a meeting, and you know the words, you learned them, but when you open your mouth to speak, they're just gone. It's a frustrating feeling, and it's one that so many English learners share. It is completely normal. But what if I told you there's a powerful secret to building your speaking confidence? A technique used by top athletes, famous musicians, and successful leaders all over the world to perform at their absolute best. And what if you could use this exact same technique to improve your English? Today, we're going to talk about that secret. We're going to explore the power of visualization. My name is Victor, and in this special B1 listening practice, I'll be your guide. I'll show you what visualization is, how it works, and how you can use simple, powerful exercises to see yourself speaking English fluently and with confidence. This isn't magic. It's about training your brain for success. Let's begin. Before we get to the solution, let's talk a little more about the problem. It's really important to understand why speaking English can feel so hard. When you understand the challenge, you can face it with more courage and the right tools. Most of my students tell me they face three main challenges. Maybe some of these will sound familiar to you. The first and the biggest is the fear of making mistakes. This is a powerful fear. It's that little voice that whispers in your ear, "Don't speak. You'll say the wrong word. Your grammar will be off. People will laugh at you. They'll think you're not smart." This voice can get so loud that it feels easier to just stay silent. It feels safer to say nothing than to risk a mistake. I want you to know that this fear is the #1 enemy of progress. To learn a language, you have to be willing to make mistakes. Mistakes aren't a sign of failure. They're a sign that you're trying. They are proof you're learning and growing. Every single person who speaks a second language fluently has made thousands of mistakes on their journey. The mistake isn't the problem. The fear of the mistake is the problem. The second challenge is your mind going blank. This is a very common and very real experience. You're speaking, and suddenly it feels like every English word has just vanished from your brain. You're searching for a simple word, maybe one you used yesterday, but you can't find it. This happens because of pressure and anxiety. When you get nervous, your brain can go into a fight or flight mode. It thinks there's a danger, so it focuses on survival, not on finding the perfect English vocabulary word. So it's not a memory problem, it's a pressure problem. And the more you worry about your mind going blank, the more likely it is to happen. It's a vicious cycle. The third challenge is translating in your head. Many learners, especially at the beginner and intermediate stages, try to think in their native language first. You form a perfect sentence in your head, and then you try to translate it, word for word, into English. This process is slow and incredibly difficult. English has a different sentence structure, different grammar, different ways of expressing ideas. When you translate directly, your speech can sound unnatural, and it takes a lot of mental energy. It's like trying to run a race while reading and translating a map at the same time. You'll be slow, you'll be tired, and you won't enjoy it. To speak fluently, you have to learn to think more directly in English. Do any of these sound familiar? The fear, the blank mind, the constant translating? If you said yes, I just want you to take a deep breath. You are not alone. These are the shared struggles of language learners everywhere. Recognizing them is the very first step to overcoming them. And today, we're going to learn a tool that helps with all three. So, what can we do about these feelings? How do we quiet the fear, clear the blank mind, and stop translating everything? The answer is a beautiful and simple tool that you already have: your imagination. The technique is called visualization. So, what is visualization? Simply put, it means creating a clear picture or a movie in your mind. In this movie, you are the main character. You're the hero of the story. And in this story, you are succeeding. You're doing the exact thing you're afraid of, and you're doing it well. Visualization is the practice of mentally rehearsing something, seeing it happen exactly the way you want it to. Let me give you an analogy. Think about a world-class runner getting ready for a big race. The night before, she isn't just resting her body. She's training her mind. She closes her eyes and runs the entire race in her imagination. She sees the track. She feels the ground under her feet. She hears the crowd. She imagines herself running with strength and confidence, crossing the finish line first. She feels the joy and pride of winning. When she does this, she's not just daydreaming. She is preparing her brain and body for success. She's creating a memory of a victory before the race has even begun.
Or imagine a talented pianist about to perform at a huge, sold-out concert hall. Of course, he's nervous. So what does he do? He sits in a quiet room, closes his eyes, and visualizes the performance. He sees himself walking onto the stage, feeling calm. He sees the beautiful piano. He imagines his fingers moving perfectly across the keys. He hears the gorgeous music filling the hall. He sees the audience listening with happy faces. He feels the final note, the silence, and then the roar of applause. He practices success in his mind over and over. This mental practice makes the real thing feel less scary, more familiar, like he's already done it. This is exactly what we can do with English. Visualization is our way of practicing for the big performance of speaking, but with zero pressure. It's a safe space inside your own mind where you can practice and always succeed. Why does this work? It's not magic, it's science. When you vividly imagine yourself doing something, your brain fires up many of the same pathways it uses when you're actually doing it. In other words, to your brain, a very clear, detailed, imagined experience feels a lot like a real one. When you visualize yourself speaking English confidently, you're literally training your brain to be confident. You're building new pathways for calm, fluent speech. You're creating mental muscle memory for speaking English. So, when you walk into a real conversation, your brain thinks, "Oh, I know this. I've been here before. I've done this successfully many times in my imagination." The situation feels familiar, so the fear and anxiety drop. Your mind is less likely to go blank because it has a positive memory to lean on. And you'll find it's easier to stop translating because you've already practiced thinking and speaking in English in your mind. Visualization is your personal training ground for English fluency. So, when talking about a technique is one thing, Seeing how it works for a real person is much more powerful. So let me tell you a story about one of my students. We'll call her Maria. Maria was this brilliant, hard-working woman from Spain. She worked in marketing and was fantastic at her job. Her dream was to work for a big international company where she could use her skills on global projects. She found the perfect job online, a marketing manager position at a company she loved. The only problem? The company was in London. The entire interview would be in English. Maria's English was intermediate. Her reading and writing were pretty good, but speaking was her biggest weakness. The thought of a job interview in English filled her with terror. Just thinking about it made her heart beat faster. She could feel her heart, like a tiny, frightened bird, beating against her ribs. Thump, thump, thump. It felt so loud she was sure they could hear it over the phone. The negative thoughts in her head were relentless, like a storm. "You'll forget everything," the voice said. "They'll ask you a question and you'll just sit there, silent. Your accent is too strong. They won't understand you. You're not good enough." This negative self-talk was destroying her confidence before she even had a chance. She applied for the job not really expecting to hear back. But a week later, an email landed in her inbox. They were impressed. They wanted to schedule a video interview for the following week. Maria's dream was a step closer, but her fear grew 10 times bigger. She felt sick with anxiety. That's when she came to me for a lesson. She told me everything. She said, "Victor, I know my marketing skills. I know I can do this job, but I can't say it in English. In the interview, I'll be a different person, a smaller, stupider version of myself." I listened carefully, and then I told her about visualization. At first, she was skeptical. "So you just want me to sit and daydream?" she asked. "How is that going to help me find the right words?" "It's more than daydreaming, Maria," I explained. "It's active preparation. Let's just try it." So I gave her a task. Spend 15 minutes every single day right before sleep doing a visualization exercise. I gave her specific instructions. And this is what Maria did. That night, she put her phone away, turned off the lights, and laid down in bed. She took a few deep breaths to calm her body. Then she started to build the movie in her mind. First, the scene. She pictured her laptop on her desk. She saw the video call window open. She saw the interviewer's face. And she decided to imagine the interviewer as a kind, friendly woman with a warm smile. This was her movie, after all. She could create any character she wanted. Next, she imagined herself. She saw her own face on the screen, but it wasn't the nervous, scared Maria. It was a calm, confident version of herself. She saw herself smiling, sitting up straight, looking right into the camera. She looked professional and relaxed. Then came the most important part, the conversation. She imagined the interviewer asking a common first question. "So, tell me a little bit about yourself." In her mind, Maria heard this question clearly. She took a calm breath and began to speak. Her voice, she thought, was clear and steady. The answer she had prepared sounded smooth and natural, not memorized. She continued the movie. She imagined other questions. "Why do you want this job? Tell me about a successful marketing campaign you managed." For each question, she visualized herself understanding it perfectly, pausing to think for a moment, and then giving a clear, intelligent answer in English.
She even imagined a moment where she didn't know a word. But in her visualization, she didn't panic. She calmly used another word or described what she meant. She saw the interviewer nodding, understanding her completely. At the end of her mental movie, she imagined the interviewer smiling and saying, "Thank you, Maria. It was a pleasure to speak with you." She imagined herself ending the call and feeling a huge wave of relief and pride. She did it. Maria did this every single night for a week. Each time, the movie in her head got clearer, more detailed, more real. She was creating a memory of a successful interview. The day of the real interview came. Maria told me later she was still nervous. Visualization isn't a magic cure for all nerves, that's normal. But something was different. As she opened her laptop and started the call, the scene felt strangely familiar. She had been there before, many times, in her mind. When the interviewer appeared, she was indeed a friendly-looking woman. And when she asked, "So, tell me a little bit about yourself," Maria's brain didn't panic. It thought, "I know this part. I've practiced this." She took a calm breath, just like in her visualization, and she began to speak. The interview went well. Was she perfect? No. She made a few small grammar mistakes. She had to ask the interviewer to repeat one question. But she didn't panic. She stayed calm and confident. She was able to show her personality and communicate her skills. 2 weeks later, Maria got another email. She got the job. Maria's story is a perfect example of this power. The mental rehearsal didn't just make her feel better. It actively prepared her brain for the real deal. It built confidence, cut down on anxiety, and made her performance stronger. She won the victory in her mind before she ever stepped onto the interview battlefield. Maria's story is inspiring, isn't it? It shows what's possible when you train your mind. Now it's your turn to practice. We're going to do our first guided visualization exercise together. We'll start with something simple, a low-pressure situation, ordering a coffee. This is a small interaction, but every successful conversation, big or small, builds your confidence. So, go ahead and get comfortable. If you're sitting, uncross your legs and let your hands rest gently in your lap. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. If you'd rather keep them open, just look down and let your gaze soften. Let's begin by taking a slow, deep breath. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel your body relax just a little. Now, let's start building the movie in your mind. Let's create the scene. Imagine a coffee shop. It can be any coffee shop you like, one you know or one you invent. See the details. Are there wooden tables? Big windows? What's on the walls? Build the place in your mind. Great. Now let's add sounds and smells. Imagine some gentle music playing in the background. Hear the quiet hum of people talking. Hear the coffee machine, that hissing sound as it steams the milk.
And now the smell. That wonderful, rich smell of fresh coffee and pastries. Use all your senses to make this place feel real. Great! Now bring yourself into the movie. Imagine walking into this coffee shop. See yourself open the door and step inside. How do you feel? For this exercise, I want you to imagine feeling calm and relaxed. You're not nervous, you're just a person who wants a coffee. See yourself walking confidently to the counter. You're at the counter now. A friendly person is waiting to take your order, the barista. Imagine them smiling at you. They are patient and kind. Now for the important part, the conversation. We're going to practice the words. I'll say them, and I want you to imagine yourself saying them clearly and confidently in your mind. Or, if you're somewhere you can speak quietly, you can even whisper them.
Imagine you make eye contact with the barista. Smile and say, "Hello, can I have a large coffee, please?" See yourself saying these words. Hear your own voice. Make it sound friendly and clear. Now, imagine the barista's response. The barista smiles and says, "Of course. Would you like any milk or sugar with that?" Imagine yourself understanding this question easily. No confusion. You know exactly what they said. You think for a moment, and then you respond. Imagine you say, "Just a little milk, please, no sugar." Wonderful. The barista prepares your coffee and says, "That will be $3, please." You understand perfectly. You get your money, you pay, and you say, "Thank you." The barista gives you your coffee and says, "Have a great day." You take the warm cup in your hands. You smile back and say, "Thanks, you too." Now see yourself walking away from the counter with your coffee. Maybe you find a nice table, or maybe you walk out of the shop. Feel that small, warm feeling of success. It was a simple conversation, and you did it perfectly. You were calm. You were understood. You were successful. Take a moment to enjoy this feeling of accomplishment. This is a victory. Okay, when you're ready, you can slowly bring your attention back to the room around you. You can open your eyes. How did that feel? You just had a successful English conversation without leaving your room. You did it all in your mind. This is the practice. By doing this regularly, you make the real situation of ordering a coffee feel easy and normal. You're telling your brain, "I can do this." That was a great first practice. We started with a simple one-on-one conversation. But visualization can help with much bigger challenges too. Let me tell you another story, this time about a student named Jin. Jin was a brilliant young man from South Korea, studying engineering at a university in Canada. He was one of the top students in his class, easily understanding complex physics and math. When it came to his subject, he was a genius. But when it came to speaking, Jin was incredibly shy. He rarely spoke in class. If a professor asked him a question, he'd answer in a very short, quiet voice, usually looking down at his desk. It wasn't because his English was bad. His grammar and vocabulary were excellent. The problem was his confidence. He was terrified of public speaking. The biggest challenge of his semester was coming up. For his final engineering course, every student had to give a 15-minute presentation on their project. This was a huge part of their grade. For Jin, this was a nightmare. He knew his project was excellent. He'd worked on it for months. But the thought of standing in front of 50 classmates and a professor, speaking English for 15 minutes, it made him feel physically sick. He was actually thinking about asking his professor if he could just submit a paper instead. He was that scared. Jin came to me for help. He explained, "Victor, I know the information 100%. But when I stand up, my heart will race, my hands will shake, and my voice will be like a little mouse. No one will hear me. They'll think my project is bad because my presentation is bad." This was a different challenge from Maria's. Maria was worried about finding the words. Jin had the words. He was worried about his physical presence, his body language, and his voice. So I suggested we use visualization with a special focus. I told him, "Jin, we're not just going to visualize the words. We are going to direct the entire movie. You will be the actor, the director, and the sound engineer." This is the exercise Jin did every day for 2 weeks. He would find a quiet place in the library, close his eyes, and start his mental movie. First, he visualized the room, the classroom, the chairs, the projector screen, his professor in the front row, and the faces of his classmates, which he made friendly and interested. Then he focused on himself as the actor. He didn't just see himself standing at the front. He imagined his body language in detail. He saw himself standing tall, with his shoulders back, not stiff but relaxed and open. His feet were planted firmly on the ground. He imagined a strong, confident posture. He even visualized using his hands to make natural gestures to emphasize his points. Next, he became the sound engineer. He focused on his voice. He didn't just imagine saying the words, he imagined how he would say them. He heard his voice coming out clear and strong, loud enough for the back row to hear easily. He imagined his voice having energy and intonation, not a flat, boring monotone. He heard passion in his own voice when he described the exciting parts of his project. Finally, he directed the most difficult scene, the Q&A at the end. He imagined a classmate asking a really tough question. In his mind, he didn't panic. He saw himself listening carefully, taking a calm breath and saying, "That's an excellent question." Then he visualized himself giving a thoughtful, intelligent, and clear answer, and saw the student nodding, satisfied. Jin practiced this entire 15-minute movie, the posture, the eye contact, the voice, the questions, every single day. He became the director of his own success. When presentation day arrived, Jin walked to the front of the class. He told me later that, yes, his heart was still pounding. But as he stood there, he felt his body almost automatically shift into the posture he'd practiced. He stood up straight, shoulders back, deep breath. The mental muscle memory was kicking in. He began to speak, and he was amazed at the sound of his own voice. It wasn't the quiet, weak voice he feared. It was the clear, strong voice from his mental movie. He remembered to look at the friendly faces he'd imagined. He used his hands to explain a complex diagram. He wasn't just reading slides, he was presenting. At the end, a student did ask a very difficult question. The old Jin would have frozen, But the new Jin took a breath, said, "That's an excellent question," and gave a calm answer, just like he had directed. When he finished, the room was silent for a moment, and then his classmates and professor started to clap. He had done it. His professor gave him the highest grade in the class, telling him it was one of the clearest and most professional presentations he'd seen all year. Jin felt 10 feet tall. Jin's story teaches us a huge lesson. Visualization isn't just for the words. It's for your entire performance. You can visualize your confidence, your body language, your tone of voice. You can be the director of you. You've listened to 2 powerful stories and practiced with a simple coffee shop scenario. Now it's time to use this tool for something that matters to you. It's time for you to direct your own movie. In this second exercise, we'll work on a situation that you find personally challenging. I want you to take a second and think, what is a situation in English that makes you feel nervous? Maybe it's a job interview, like Maria. Maybe it's giving a presentation, like Jen. Maybe it's joining a conversation with a group of native speakers. Or maybe it's talking to your boss, or making a phone call to book a restaurant. Or maybe it's meeting someone new at a party. Choose one situation, one that's meaningful for you where you truly want to feel more confident. Got one in mind? Good. Now, just like before, find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if that helps you. Take a deep breath in and let it go. We'll follow the same steps, but this time you fill in the details from your own life. Step 1. Build the scene. Where are you? An office? A classroom? A restaurant? Build the environment in your mind. See the furniture, the light, the colors. Put the other people in the scene. Who are you talking to? Your boss? A new friend? A group? See their faces. As the director, make them look neutral or friendly. Step 2. See yourself. Now, bring the star of the movie, you, into the scene. But this isn't the nervous you. This is the ideal you, the confident you. See yourself looking relaxed, with an open, confident posture. You have a small, calm smile. You look like you belong there. You are ready. Step 3. Direct the conversation. Imagine the conversation starting. Hear the other person speak and see yourself understanding them easily. Now, imagine your response. Hear your own voice, clear, steady, and warm. What are you saying? Imagine the perfect words flowing easily. See the conversation going well. It's a positive, successful communication. Step 4. Direct the challenge. Every good movie has a challenge. Let's prepare for it. Imagine a difficult moment. Maybe you don't understand a word. Maybe you forget a word. Maybe someone disagrees with you. In your movie, how does the confident you handle this? You don't panic. You don't shut down. See yourself handling it with grace. If you don't understand, see yourself calmly saying, "I'm sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "What does that word mean?" You're not embarrassed, you're just clarifying. If you forget a word, see yourself taking a breath and describing it. "I can't think of the exact word, but it's a thing you use for..." See yourself handling the challenge successfully and the conversation continuing smoothly. Step 5. Feel the success. Now, imagine the end of the conversation. It ends on a positive note. You say goodbye. You walk away. And I want you to focus on the feeling. Feel the pride, the relief, the confidence. You did it. You faced your personal challenge, and you were wonderful. Hold on to that feeling of success for a moment. This is the feeling we want to create in real life. This is your movie. You can play it in your mind as many times as you want. Practice it until it feels completely real. The more you practice success in your mind, the more you prepare yourself for real success when the moment arrives. Okay, when you feel ready, you can slowly bring yourself back. Open your eyes. This is your tool now. You can use it for any situation. Before a phone call, before a meeting, before a party. Take 5 minutes, close your eyes, and watch the movie of your own success. So, what have we learned today? We've learned about a technique that can truly transform your confidence in speaking English. Let's quickly recap the key benefits just to make them crystal clear. First, visualization reduces fear and anxiety. Fear comes from the unknown. By rehearsing a situation in your mind, you make it known. You make it familiar. And what's familiar is much less scary. You're turning a frightening monster into a friendly pet. Second, visualization builds real confidence. Confidence doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from a history of success. Visualization lets you create a long history of success in your mind. Every time you imagine a successful conversation, you're making a deposit in your confidence bank. When you need it most, you'll have plenty to draw from. When the moment arrives, your mind and body are already primed for what to do. You won't be starting from zero. You'll be starting from a place of strength. And finally, the most beautiful part is that this tool is 100% yours. It's free. It's portable. You can do it anywhere, anytime, on the bus, waiting in line, or for 5 minutes before you go to sleep. Your mind is your most powerful tool in learning English, and it's always with you. Remember that feeling we talked about at the start? That feeling of your mind going blank, of the words disappearing? Visualization is the answer. It fills your mind not with blankness, but with pictures of success. It replaces the voice of fear with the voice of confidence. Your journey to fluent English is a marathon, not a sprint. Success doesn't happen overnight. But with small, consistent steps, you'll look back in a few months and be amazed at how far you've come. Visualization is one of those small, powerful steps you can start taking today. This isn't the end of our session, it's the beginning of your new way of practicing. Start using your amazing imagination to build the English-speaking life you want. If you found this session helpful, if you feel a little more hopeful on your English journey, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We create powerful English lessons like this every week to help you reach your goals. And subscribing is the best way to make sure you don't miss the next step. And now, a question for you. Please tell me in the comments below, what is the one situation that you will visualize first? Is it a job interview? Talking to a new friend? Share it in the comments. By writing it down, you make a small promise to yourself to begin this practice, and I would love to read about your goals. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your mind is an amazing place. Start using its power to build your confidence today. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep imagining your success. I'm Victor, and I will see you in the next session. Bye for now.